My name's Matthew Monson, and I have a pimple. Just kidding. About my name being Matthew Monson. It's Drew Monson, but I do have a pimple. I wouldn't joke about that. It wouldn't be funny if I did. If getting a pimple was like a movie, it would be a drama, not a comedy. It would be a thriller, actually. It's a scary time. And I'm like, I have a big pimp, I have a BP, but I'm scared that it's a CS, if you know what I'm saying. And if you don't, figure it out. Come on. I know you failed Algebra 2, but let's pick up the pace here. This is a YouTube video, okay? It's not a worksheet, but it might as well be. I have a lot to talk about today. I'm gonna calm down. I went like super viral the other night. Not a big deal. It's happened before, but never like this. And I have a lot to say about it. My doctor got mad at me. I guess I should explain this. I guess I did already. I have a pimple. I'm trying to cover it up. I just put a little piece of toilet paper. Do you have toilet paper in your bedroom? It helps. You don't need to be crying to have toilet paper in a room that's not the bathroom. People think you do. No, no, no. Okay, I have a lot to say, and I'm not feeling great today, but I've been feeling like depressed, but really good for like 2 hours of the day, which I am so grateful for. But sometimes it feels like the more that comes out of my mouth, the worse I feel about myself. So I just show up to parties and keep my trap shut. I don't actually show up to parties, but I go to parties. I just eventually appear. Like you'll just go, wait, when did Drew get here? And they're like, he didn't get here. He's just on the couch now. That's what happened. Yeah, I looked up, I want to show you that. I want to read this to you, by the way. Hi, by the way, how are you? What are you? Do you have a pimple? Literally you too? Okay, well that's so weird, because I just feel like we have so much in common. It's like strange. Like remember when we both listened to that band, Panic at the Disc? How to cover a pimple without makeup, a quick and easy guide. It was neither, literally. And it always has websites always have an intro, like I want to read a paragraph about, literally she's talking about how she went to college. Sometimes you have a pimple. I know. I literally Googled how to cover up a pimple. You need to talk. Everything that you Google now, it's just some website with a bunch of words that mean so close to nothing. You'll Google like, how to fix my car, and it's a website of like a person who makes cars pretending like they're gonna help you. Oh, step 1, get a wrench. Step 2, buy one of our cars. Get a Ford. It's like, no, I've got a Subaru. You know that. You know me better than I know myself. Okay. Listen to this. This is what made me angry today. Because what does that even mean? How to cover a pimple without makeup? I was like, okay, well, I don't have makeup. Of course I don't. I wouldn't wear it if I did. I'm a man. Okay, sorry. Harry Styles is quaking in his dress. That was not homophobic. It wasn't supposed to be homophobic. Nothing really is supposed to be homophobic when you think about it. It's just an accident. It's an oopsie. It happens. And we should forgive them. Just kidding. We should forgive nobody. How to cover up a pimple without Did I call this video like I went viral on Twitter? I'll get to it, I promise. Literally, a tiny piece of toilet paper is just floating around like the feather at the beginning of Forrest Gump. But for real, listen to this article and tell me it means anything. Number 1 of how to cover up your pimple, hide under accessories or hair. What does that mean? Like, what accessories? Stretch out like a Claire's necklace? Oh, nice accessory, Drew. Thanks, it's my lip accessory. I love going to the mall. What? Literally, like, this girl talks about so many things that mean nothing to me. Number 2, wear a face mask. That's what got me. I think this was written before COVID. This is a trick I did often during my college days. That means nothing. Why are you saying that? That you went to college, you're better than me because you went to college and now you write articles about pimples and I make videos about them and I didn't go to college. Who's better? Me. I didn't need education to talk about pimples. You did. God, I hope she doesn't see this. I hope nobody sees this, honestly. Especially my uncle, who I haven't reached out to for a few years, but neither has he. Do you have any relatives that it feels like, okay, am I a bad person? Because like, you started it. You know what I mean? It's like, you used to send me Christmas cards. I know I never have, but why'd you stop? Wear a face mask. Whenever I woke up with an ugly-looking pimple on my cheeks, chin, or under my nose, that sounds like Dr. Seuss. My cheeks, my chin, or under my nose, wherever the pimple meister, wherever he goes. I would reach out for, by the way, why is she calling it ugly? Whenever I woke up with an ugly looking pimple, I looked at this article this morning because I was feeling insecure already, and it calls it nasty, ugly. I literally thought it would be like, number one, take a breath. You're just a human. But it's like, no, if you want to get rid of the nastiest thing I've ever seen, I hate you, Drew. It literally says that in bold at the top. No, I just, like, really? That's your advice? Put on a mat? Just hide. Just get in your bed, throw every blanket on top of yourself, and don't talk to your friends for 2 weeks if you ever have a pimple. Maybe that's good advice. I am gonna put on, by the way, my Patreon this week, kind of regarding this, I wanna talk about something that, I'm afraid to talk about on YouTube because I'm kind of ashamed of it. I'm not trying to be clickbait, and I know that a very small percentage of you will actually see that, but okay, yeah, I wanted to talk about how, number one, I'm not feeling great. I've been trying to make this video for about 4 hours and I keep turning it off. I kind of feel like I have COVID, but I'm not sure if they're just anxiety chills. You know how we are these days. So anyway, going viral. And it's like, it's happened to me before, like, honestly, last year, Demi Lovato, I think I wasn't even back on the internet yet. Demi Lovato, the Demi, like Instagram storied, reposted some meme page posting my tweet from literally like 8 years ago. And people like from high school I hadn't talked to in 8 years were like, wow, man, you're really doing big things. And I'm like, not really, but Demi is. Demi is for sure. You are too. You can't compare yourself to Demi. Your whole life, it's just been Demi, Demi, Demi. I've done something great, but I'm not Demi. You can't be Demi. Who can but Demi? You sound like you're saying damn-y, like the slight swear word damn. You sound like you added a Y to it. Thank you. Anyway, so... And that, by the way, that tweet, if you're curious what Demi Lovato found relatable, which literally, it was like my old Twitter avatar where I'm like naked or I'm like shirtless, I'm naked, my ass is out. Demi Lovato's like, I like this. Here's an ass I appreciate. No, it was like me, like as a 19-year-old, like holding my tits up. Anyway, it said something like, the hottest thing about me is that I have the mac and cheese directions memorized. It was very cute for 2012 and we all loved it. Anyway, last week I tweeted this thing, which came from like, I've been kind of interested in trying to be more mindful of my mental health fluctuations in general and try and find out why they happen and sort of, I don't know, make up some kind of cheat code to make them happen a little bit less, even though I'm also trying to just feel pain and see it as, you know, the opposite side of feeling good and the necessary. You know, you can't feel good without having some pain to compare it to, but you're also kind of like, okay, but I don't want to feel this much pain this often, so I think I have enough pain to compare good to for the rest of my life. But anyway, I've been thinking about how I'm always worse at night. And I actually made like an Instagram story that I thought was pretty good like a month ago. I'm just going to put it in here. I try not to edit, but I think I already have in this video. Listen to this. You're fine. Literally stop. You're on a phone in a bed. That's it. That's all. You're not dying. You're not in trouble. You're not the worst. You didn't mess it all up. You messed a few things up. Like, no, I'll give you that. I'm not gonna lie to you. But not all of it. Like, that would be hard. Like, you couldn't pull that off. No offense. And they're not mad. They don't hate you. They literally just don't feel like doing the whole thing right now. That's fair. And honestly, like, do you even? Right? I'm not mad. No, it's hard to see because like you've been doing this for forever. Like the moon comes out and you catastrophize and you think it's like worse than it is. It's bad. No. You're actually right about that. No, I will give that to you. Like it is bad, but like, is it as bad as nighttime is making it seem right now? No, you're lacking daytime context. You'll get it tomorrow. Relax the shoulders. Literally nighttime. The only time, by the way, that is designed and designated specifically for you to relax. And here you are doing the opposite of your job right now. I hate to be bossy, but clock in. Wow. Did you hear? He's nice. He helped me. I really want to just kiss him like no one's ever been kissed. Why can't we kiss? Where is he? Where'd he go? Can we kiss him? Are we allowed to kiss him? That's like an old man looking at a phone. Who's that? Can we kiss him? No, Grandpa, see that he's on Instagram. Wow, can I go there? And kiss the boy? Why am I imagining a grandpa wanting to kiss me from far away? Think about that, any therapists out there. I know therapists watch my videos. You nasty perverts. Anyway, I've been thinking about how I guess I already said it there, and wasn't it a kissable clip? you know, I just am constantly getting wrapped up, because I think that the more time I spend by myself, or anybody, I guess, all that's going on is you are alone in a room with a computer or all of your thoughts, and that doesn't tend to go well unless you have people to bounce off of, things outside to look at, new air to breathe in, and it sucks. And I realize that a lot of times the thoughts I'm having pertain to like, around like 9 or 10, I'll start thinking, what am I even doing? Why do I do all these things? For what? Am I happy? I don't think I should have gone with this job. I don't think I should have made a Patreon. Like, whatever it is, I'm freaking out about everything. Like, it turns into this overallness that doesn't seem to be there around the afternoon. So I tweeted, I made a new rule, never trust how you feel about your entire life past 9 p.m. And whenever I tweet something, I don't know if you do this, I don't know if you tweet. Do you tweet? Are you literally a macaw? One of my favorite words to say, by the way, I'm pretty sure that's a macaw. You gotta love a word that ends with W. Okay, my name does. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, whenever I tweet something, I don't know if you do the kind of like fear, like, this is my impression of like me on the computer after I tweet something, send it out, and then like the refreshing, or it's like if someone walked in on me doing it, they'd be like, oh God, Drew, he's having a seizure. Like, no one, move the chairs. Like, there's something about it that is so intense where I'm just, for like 30 seconds, I'm like, please. And when I tweeted that one, it was like 5 retweets right away. I'm not trying to brag, I'm just telling a story. I know there's a hater who watches my videos named Ja Rule, who I'm 99% sure isn't the famous artist from 2000s Ja Rule, but if it was, I'd be flattered and I'd love to have a business meeting with you, Ja. But he always comments on all of my videos like, still horrible, and I'm like, dude, how do you not see that you love me? But anyway, it was like very quickly getting a little bit more. And then somehow, I think it was the next day, all of a sudden I look at my phone, and for like the next 24 hours, every time I went like this on Twitter, there was 10 more people quote tweeting it, you know, 15 more likes, 30 more. It was like, it didn't stop. And what struck me about it, and what is so interesting to me, because it made me think about Twitter and the internet in general, is I think this thing kind of happened, like, I don't know if you're interested in like psychoanalyzing the way internet content works, but it's all I care about. Me and Ja Rule are gonna have a meeting about it next week. Can I come? Ja Rule wouldn't like you, sweetheart. I'm sorry, am I being mean to him? Yeah. That wasn't, how do British people say yeah? Yeah. No, see, that sounds Jamaican. Yeah. British people don't say yeah, I just realized they only say yes. Yes. No, wait, I literally lost it. I think a British person just goes, indeed. But, you know, years ago, I think that when I would see something on Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is, there would be this moment where I'd go, oh, who's that? Oh, somebody wrote something. But now, there's so much like, you know, this kind of ecosystem. I try to use that word all the time. I really don't know what it means besides like, I don't know, plants grow and photosynthesis, but I think it could be on the internet too. And Ja Rule knows what I'm talking about. Where things just get reposted over and over again, and maybe like 2 or 3 times a week, a new one comes and then it just gets recycled for years and years. And now whenever I see a viral tweet, I just assume that that person who tweeted it, like the person who actually wrote that has no idea any of this is going on. Like my instinct is not to go, oh, who's that? It's to go, I wonder if the original author of that is even alive anymore. Like it literally could be, you know, an Eddie Murphy joke from 1987. I have no idea, and it probably is. Eddie was relatable. We can't deny it. And then he ended up as Donkey, the most relatable, because I've got a badonkadonk. He says the cutest things about his butt in his newest video. You have to watch it, Kayla. That was somebody, you get it. Why would you get that? I don't. Ja Rule? I know Ja Rule gets it. That's the thing about Ja Rule. He gets me more than anyone else. Watch as Drew Monson becomes obsessed with his hater. What if my next video was called Meeting Ja Rule? But it's me with the actual artist. And he's like, listen, I haven't been putting out hit records lately, and I saw you and it triggered me because you were living the life I used to live. And I'm like, Ja, I totally understand. I used to feel that way about you. And he's like, that's crazy. He's just me in a wig. Why? Why would he have a wig on? He's not Harry Styles. You guys know Harry Styles wears a wig, right? You literally think that's his hairline? That's funny. Wow. But anyway, you know, I've just realized that now when you see a tweet or an Instagram post, it doesn't matter who wrote it. It's almost as if the entire internet wrote it. It's kind of just this like relatable person that you imagine that it's, I don't know. And then sometimes under a tweet, someone will reply and be like, really, you're posting the same, this tweet again? Because there's these ones that just go around. They're usually like, you know, really, people are gonna pop back into your life and pretend like nothing happened. I tweet that on my second Twitter account like once a week just because I want to go viral. If you tweet, people really think they can pop back into your life like nothing happened, if you do that every day, eventually you'll go viral because somebody will use it to like show someone they're angry. Those are the best tweets. Tweets about like depression and anxiety are a close second, but number one is relatable viral tweets people can use to show their ex they're mad without texting them. If you tweet like something vague but specific enough, like, oh, nice haircut after you broke up with me, because sometimes people go through that's not a good one. Nice haircut after you broke up with me. I liked it. But anyway, it was just interesting because it's still getting posted by, you know, accounts like @TheAnxietyLife. It's a lot of like mental illness plus life, or like the bipolar mind has been, and I have been hearing from people more than like that do not watch my videos. I know like people that are just like, wow, Drew, it's so crazy to see you on here. And I don't think it brought me any kind of actual attention. I don't think it helped my career very much. I think I got like 2,000 followers. I mean, it ended up with like, I guess I didn't even say, it ended up with 700,000 likes. And for a second, by the way, kind of embarrassing to say, but I literally was Googling most liked tweets of all time because I was like, what if I'm like number 5? Like, I think number 1 is like Obama being reelected or Chadwick Boseman dying, which seems kind of strange, but I guess you'd like to acknowledge that you saw it or like show that you liked him and then he died. But I mean, I didn't think I was gonna beat out Chadwick, but I thought maybe I'd be in the top like 50. I was like, I don't see a lot of tweets with 700,000 likes. Like this is, it just struck me how not about me it felt. Like no one was saying, wow, Drew it was just like, wow, the internet said a new thing. And you kind of watch, and I was just sitting there. It was just my hobby for a couple days until it stopped, watching people kind of live through this thing. And I had all these thoughts about it and I was analyzing it, so I couldn't feel pleasure like I normally do. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know, I'm really glad that so many people saw that, because when I wrote that and when I've had that realization lately, it really helps me. It really helps me to go, like, the most helpful tool for my mental health that I've been trying to develop these past like 2 years is going, oh, look, I'm doing that thing again. Like, that is so powerful to me, almost more than anything else, to be able to go, oh, I'm doing that, and it immediately separates you from it. It immediately doesn't take it as seriously. It immediately doesn't buy into it as much, whether it's a panic attack, whether it's like thinking that you've made every mistake in the world when you're trying to fall asleep. Even if you're completely down the rabbit hole, if you can have a little voice that goes, oh, look, I'm doing that thing again, and almost see it as like kind of cute, you gotta flirt with yourself if you want to self-love. But it doesn't even have to be self-love. Like, it's just this recognition. That can't be a recognizability. That's what I have because I'm famous. Hi, so I'm interrupting the video, or not interrupting, this just is the video now. There was a little bit more of that was filmed yesterday, but I just got upset pretty quickly and turned the camera off, and I try to make these unedited and just kind of a snapshot of where I'm at on any given day, but I make all these rules for myself and realize that I don't actually have to follow them. And I want to talk about some other stuff, because I had a really scary night last night. For a few reasons, just kind of in my brain, and I wanted to just get on here and talk about it because I'm having the urge that I have when I feel this way to just kind of hide again, you know, get off the internet, delete everything, not do videos anymore, literally like find a hotel hours away, go to the woods and just like lose my mind in private. Like I always have this instinct to just like, I want to go wild. If I'm gonna feel wild, why don't I just like run around a city I've never been to and just like scream, you know? And maybe that would do me some good, but I think that I would freak everybody out. And you know, I'm constantly like in this battle with myself of like, should I try to be more normal of a person, or do I just have like a, not even animalistic, but almost like alien need in me to just like go crazy and prove to everybody that I'm not normal and I don't want to be, and I want to just like freak out because I feel like I'm freaking out all the time in normal situations where I'm acting all normal, but in my head it's like this party full of strangeness that I kind of enjoy sometimes, but I'm equally just as afraid of. And last night, I don't know how to explain it, but I just started, I don't know if it's mania. I'm kind of like half diagnosed bipolar by psychiatrists. Kind of like they say, oh yeah, I think you are, but I'd have to see you manic. Oh no, you do seem manic, but I'm just a therapist. Or a psychiatrist has said, yeah, but I'm not going to put it down for insurance. You know, all these things that lead you to feel like, okay, well, what do I have to do? Do I have to like go through a boot camp and be checked in on every 5 minutes for a year, and then you'll give me what, a ticket that says I'm officially bipolar, and then what do I do? I don't even know what the thing is for, but I do know, I mean, I know the importance of diagnosis and how it can help people, but what I know is that I feel really strange sometimes, in a way where I feel like I'm completely out of control, but at the same time very aware of it, and sort of like I'm watching a lot of times it'll happen like texting or writing something on the internet, and I'll just like it's like I'm watching myself lose it, and I feel it's like my fingers and hands are out of control, but my brain is going, oh, look at you, you're being out of control right now. What you just wrote doesn't really make sense. But then the other half, or 20 to 30% of my mind is like, this is kind of fun, or let's just do that. It's like there's just, you know, like waves at the ocean. Like you can boogie board on them, or you can just watch them, and I boogie board on them. I don't know if that makes sense, but literally I was gonna read it. Like this is what I sent my friend last night at like 1 in the morning. It doesn't really make sense. Like I wake up, I've only tried to love when I can. It's not enough, and I'm afraid my brain is inflamed or a tumor, headaches, and psychosis. 2 negative COVID tests. Could you tell me I'm okay, or would you not want to lie? Ha 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 ha. Please don't make fun of this online. I'm not feeling myself. I'm embarrassed already. Need help. I mean, I don't even know why I didn't think they were gonna make fun of me online. Just like stream of consciousness, kind of, and I don't know if I'm gonna put this on the internet. Maybe I'm just filming it for myself as kind of like a journal. And again, if so, hi Drew, what do you think? You like this content? This personal, customized content? No, I think someone else is watching this. But I don't know. It feels like there's this obvious, like, maybe I should take a break type of thing, but then it's like, what does a break even look like for me? The problem with me when people say, oh, don't push yourself to make videos, you know, it's like, the problem is I don't know how to take a break. Sometimes taking a break is worse for me, because free time for me is just me sitting around being triggered by my phone, or laying in bed staring at the ceiling and living inside of my head that progressively just gets more and more kind of creepy, you know? And I embarrassed myself, and I sent other messages to people that just didn't fully make sense and were about how maybe I was dying, and I think that's based on I've been having these headaches, and then I get convinced that I've eaten too much sugar, and I'm not on a non-inflammatory diet, and my brain is inflamed, and maybe it slightly is, or maybe I have a tumor, and all these kind of hypochondriac rationalizations I come to when I think, or I'd like to believe, that I'm just not able to accept that maybe anxiety and stress and possible mania have much more of a hold on my physical body than I'm willing to admit, because sometimes it's more comforting to just think maybe there's some kind of disease that, or not even comforting, but like I always have this fear that like, what if there's something I'm missing? I've heard a few stories of family members, people who went to the doctor and they thought it was just headaches, and turns out they died a week later. I don't want to be that guy. You know, while I'm, you know, telling people I kind of want to die, but I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to, I'm constantly terrified that I'm walking around with some undiagnosed thing and it's just a ticking time bomb, and my life has to be this, like, you know, the meme of the guy from the show, you know what I'm talking about, with all the stuff on the wall, like a detective. Like, that's just finding what's wrong with my body before I die. Like, there's just bomb strapped to my chest, but the bomb is whatever is wrong with me, but the bomb might just be stress and anxiety. Because I feel like if I asked any doctor or psychologist, like, hey, by the way, can anxiety, stress, and bipolar completely make you feel a lot of things in your body that kind of feel like dying? And they'd be like, yeah, no, it can literally, it's so connected. But then even if they said that, I'd be like, okay, yeah, but you also could be dying, right? And they'd go, or they'd go, why are you talking? Well, who are you? I'd go, don't freak out. I found your address online. I just wanted to talk about it though. And I don't know how many people are going to watch the video for this long, and I want it to be funny, and I'm afraid that tonight is gonna be even worse, you know? I'm afraid that I just always get this urge of like, I should just go to a hotel. I don't even want to be in an apartment complex right now. I mean, luckily, like right now I have the privilege to be able to get myself a hotel room for the night. If I do that every time I feel insane, I probably would run out of money, or I definitely would. Sometimes I just do that because I'm like, I don't want... People freak out in hotels, but in apartment complexes, you have to see your neighbor and look them in the eyes the next day. That's not true. You don't have to look your neighbor in the eyes, and I've proved that time and time again. There is no rule, and boy am I glad. But I guess I sound fairly clear-headed right now, which is good, but I'm just developing this, I think, you know, 2020 summer, I think it was so traumatically not good for my, like, I had this real sense of like, I don't know how much I've gotten into it, but I was genuinely like afraid to go outside, like as in the front porch, like as in 10 steps away from my apartment, like as in I would walk to the liquor store and be actually terrified. And I'm talking about like a 2-minute walk across the street. I mean, I remember there was a time where I had to walk across I got in the car with somebody, and I had to get out of the car because I was so terrified, and I would get dizzy whenever I'd be almost anywhere outside of my room. I mean, sometimes even the living room, I would get dizzy. And I had to get out of the car, and I didn't want them to drive me home even after I had felt like I'd calmed down a little bit. So I had to walk home like 45 minutes, but I was terrified because it was my biggest fear of why I didn't want to go outside, because I'd get stuck in a distance that was too far for me to walk without freaking out, you know? And I just remember this time that I had to walk across like the crosswalk, and I couldn't do it, and I just paced around the crosswalk for like a half an hour, because something about, you know, I could kind of deal with just like a straight sidewalk without interruptions, but something about that, like stepping out and maybe being hit by a car who wasn't paying attention somehow. I don't know. A lot of stuff like that, and I think that last night kind of reminded me of that, and I think there's a lot of like flashback type of stuff to that time of my life, and maybe your life, maybe a lot of people's life, that real darkness. I mean, I live in California. 2020 was like an especially bad, it was a pandemic thing, but also a fire. Like the sky was like orange and red. I don't know if you live here or have seen pictures of that. It was really scary because it felt like the world was ending, and it literally was like if you went outside and took a picture, it looked like the sepia filter was on it, even if it wasn't. And that terrified me to the point where even now I get a little bit scared if there's like if the sky looks a little bit different. I'm kind of like, wait, does the sky look weird? Like, that's not... Sometimes I just have the urge to ask people questions that don't fully make sense. Like, by the way, that was the air conditioning turning off, right? That wasn't like, I didn't stop hearing things. Even though I can hear myself talking right now, you can hear me too, but I can hear you. Why don't you talk so I can make sure I can hear? Like, I think that sometimes I say a lot more when all I really need to say is, can you just tell me it's okay, even if you're lying? And I feel like I talk about this stuff too much, and I feel like a broken record sometimes, and I've been told that I am. But I just want to talk about it because I don't want to go hide. I don't really think it's worth it anymore, and I've proven time and time again to myself that it doesn't really help. It doesn't really help to just go, oh, let me just take a 1.5 year mental health break, live on the money I've made on YouTube until it runs out, kind of ask some family members for money, and then maybe a few more comes in from YouTube, and a music Spotify check here and there, and kind of just like, you know, buy food that hopefully costs under $3 and check under couches and cushions for quarters to, you know. I don't want to do that. It's not just a money thing, but I don't want to be alone. I have such an intense, you know, again, instinct, urge, whatever, to just like, you know, you are not fit for the world right now. You deserve to be alone. It's kind of like, here, Drew, this is your punishment for being this abnormal. Like, and you know, seeing people online and getting this sort of, I know, unfair sense of like, oh, I see all you mentally ill people talking, but like, you don't understand, like, you're not my level. Like, I've yet to see somebody on my level. Because maybe I've talked about this before. It's something I've thought about, is like, you don't really get a chance to see people making relatable memes and content or writing a lot unless it's in retrospect about completely losing your mind or completely going into a depression, because a lot of those times someone isn't fit to post on the internet or talk to people about it, or they're wandering the streets, you know, or they don't have internet access, or they're afraid to talk, you know, they don't know how to form words. Like, I feel like you miss a certain level of it because it isn't always able to be verbalized, you know, or shown, because the symptom of it is such disorganized thinking, or is such deep isolation. And I think it can lead me to, when I feel like I've gotten to this point where I'm like, why is everyone talking about this functional version of anxiety, this functional version of depression? Not that it's not as hard, and not that I don't go through a more functional version of it a lot of my life, but sometimes, you know, I see someone wandering the streets talking to themselves. Maybe this will piss somebody off that I'm saying this, but I feel more connected to them than, you know, the anxiety memes online. And I'm not saying that that's me, and I'm not saying that I have the same amount of privilege as them, and I know there's a big difference, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, no, I feel I'd rather, I don't know, not I'd rather. I just wanted to come on here and talk about that, because that's what's going on. And I was going to talk about the doctor. I mean, I can tell that story. Basically, my doctor got mad at me. Not mad at me, but like, I have a pretty good relationship with my doctor, and I am a pretty bad hypochondriac. I mean, it's kind of what I'm talking about. But my doctor right now is like pretty good with like me asking a lot of questions. Because like when I'm in the doctor's office, and when I'm having any conversation with anyone, when I'm feeling like extra stressed, it's very much like, in my head, it turns into like a battle of like, how can I get all of my words out, but also try and listen to enough of theirs? I'm interrupting too much and seeing that I'm interrupting, but not, it's like I feel this like drive to just like shoot it out, just keep going. You're gonna miss something, especially at the doctor. It feels like a life and death thing because of that thing I was talking about earlier. It's like, if you forget something, Drew, and if you don't interrupt her right now, you're gonna forget to say that one symptom that is, she's gonna hear and then check a part of your body and look at you. I'm always waiting for the doctor to go, oh, and like, cut to like a movie, the woo woo, like me, the doctors are like, how long has this been going on? And I'm like, I didn't know, I tried to tell you. But she's good, and I can tell that I'm spending a little too much time in her office. But last week I called her and I was having a phone appointment, or she called me because it was a phone appointment, which is like, it's so hard now because any symptom that slightly sounds like COVID, they won't see you in a doctor's office, maybe unless you're Joe Rogan or something. But the problem is, almost anything is a COVID symptom. Like literally the symptoms of COVID, at least on the internet, which who knows, seem to range from like headache, cold symptoms to like feeling sort of strange / one of your pinky toe kind of aching, like it's so broad. And we can still have there's so many reasons to have a sore throat, and it's it's just clearly a horrible time right now that you can't go into, because you have like the sniffles, because that might be COVID, and then you call your doctor. Have you had this experience where they're like, oh yeah, well, how about a phone appointment? And you're like, for my throat? Like, so what, you can listen to what it sounds like? Like you want me to go, ah, on speakerphone? What do you mean? Why do I so mad at doctors? So anyway, she's pretty nice. We were having a thing and I was like, I said, could I come in? Like, cause I've had these throat issues before where I have pain and then they've looked at it and been like, oh, okay, that's an infection. You need antibiotics. Like there's stuff in there. There's redness, there's whiteness, whatever. And you gotta fix it. And she said, and she's always so sweet to me. And I feel like we have a good back and forth. And I'm like, wow, I found a doctor who kind of cares, Not that they don't, but they just don't normally have time or the ability to in the world that we live in, or country, or I don't know. Canada's probably not perfect either, no offense. But I go, could I come in? And she goes, yes, Drew. And it was like she flipped all of a sudden. She goes, yes, Drew, but you don't think you can come in here and talk for a half an hour like usual, because my other patients aren't going to be very happy about you taking up their time. And I was like, there are so many things that popped in my head, because I was like, number one, why would they know? Are you gonna go, sorry, that was my patient Drew Monson. You might see him out in the lobby signing an authorization form. He has long hair and glasses, and he's the reason I can't talk to you for very long. Sorry about your knee, Mrs. Biddlestone. Biddlestone. I'm an improviser. But it hurt my feelings. That's my story. One thing a doctor said to me, but I guess it's about more than that. I had a horrible time like a couple weeks ago too. I don't think I told this story on here. I've been applying for a few different apartments, even though I don't even know if I want to move. This is like where I lived when I had that horrible time in 2020, and I think I'm like, oh, if I get out of here, almost like in a movie where, someone dies in a house and they're like, I can't stand to be there anymore. All the memories are there. But for me, it's just like isolating during the pandemic. And maybe it would help, but sometimes it's like, I feel like the comfort or the kind of good mental health that will be brought by a move or a new relationship is something that fades away. You can't move or date or buy a new outfit yourself out of a funk. You can just temporarily pause it, but you're just gonna get used to anything is the sad part. But I do kind of want to live somewhere else. Sometimes I just apply for apartments because I'm like, how's my credit? No, I don't know. Does it mess with your credit to apply for apartments? I don't get it. So I go to this open house. I just like saw a thing on Zillow and I just went to like this duplex, and the lady there was like pretty nice, but I asked her, I said, well, I would live here by myself because it was a 2-bedroom place and I'd like my turtle to have her own room. You know how it is. And she's like, alone? And I go, yeah. And she's like, oh. And then there was like, I don't know if you've ever gone to an open house, but to me, maybe just the way that I work, it feels like I'm like competitive. Like all of a sudden it feels like, oh, like these people are, who are you? Oh, you think this is your house? This is my house. Oh, you must be confused. This is where I'm gonna live. I see you talking to the manager right there. Oh, you think that they're gonna like your application? No, they're gonna like mine, sweetie. That's terrifying. But I kind of get in my head, like I feel this territorial it's a very unique type of like competitiveness that I feel at an open house, and I don't do it very often, but when I've gone there, I feel like I sound like an adult right now talking about open houses. Like, what? I've gone to 2 duplexes, okay? And anywhere else I've lived, I've just called a manager and said, I have bad credit, but I make YouTube videos and do brand deals. I swear I can pay the rent. And a few times, which is all I've needed, they've gone, okay. I've never been accepted like, woo, yeah, come on in for an apartment. It's always like, all right, let's see how this goes. But anyway, I get to the open house and she's like confused, and then there's like what I was gonna say is that the competitiveness, there was a family there, and I'm like, oh, so she doesn't like that I'm alone, and there's a family. Ooh, look, it's a family. They have a son and a daughter and a parents, and I'm just this like guy in gym shorts who's like, is there a laundry room? You know? Why would that be a bad thing to say? It's a totally understandable question. I'm the freak asking if there's laundry hookups. What a weirdo. But anyway, some weird thing happened where like I asked if there was a backyard area, and she was like, she kind of wasn't full. She was definitely like second language English speaker, and I didn't fully get what she was trying to tell me. And I go, is there a backyard area? And she goes, well, do you want to come back in? Because it's very dusty in the lawn. And I went, what? And she's like, it's dusty, so are you sure you don't want to go back in? And I was like, I don't know, no, it's fine. She goes, okay, follow me, but it's dusty. And she was pointing to the grass, and so I'm like, dusty? Okay, I don't mind dust, I like dust. I love dust. So I walk on the dust grass, and she kind of shows me like this backyard area, and it was kind of wet, and then I'm like, oh, okay, and then I walk back to go into the duplex, and she goes, no, 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 she starts screaming, and she goes, no! And I realized what she was trying to tell me was, honey, if you want to see this backyard, your feet are gonna get wet or dusty, and I don't want you tracking that back into my open house, okay? She would not let me back in after I looked at the backyard area, and there was a miscommunication there. You know, just feeling, and then the family there that I'm competitive with for this duplex is like, you know, looking at me like, uh-oh, maybe your application's just got a D-. And then I leave, and then here's the thing. She sends me a text. I feel like this was a little bit unfair. And keep in mind, I was already feeling insecure before I read this, that she seemed to be judging that I wanted to live there alone in a 2-bedroom, and very much more interested in the family who was looking at the place. This is the message she sent me to tell me that my application was denied. Hi Drew, sorry to let you know that we've decided to rent our blank 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 property to a strong family applicant, family exclamation point. Why? Like, I don't need to know who you picked over me. I've never had anyone say that. Hi, I'm sorry, your application has been rejected. Just to give you a little background on who has been accepted, he's a strong man with broader shoulders than you. He has a briefcase and you didn't have anything close. Couldn't even imagine you with a lunchbox, sir. That was, was that a privacy violation, reading that message? I made the whole story up. That was satire. Anyway, I thought it was weird, and it's just hard to apply for apartments. Was there something else I was going to talk about? Texting? Hopefully, maybe this part of the video. Someone in the comments say he gets real around 20 minutes, because I don't want people to give up on whatever mood I was in yesterday. I feel like I'm on a roll right now. It is good to talk about things, you know? And I think the times when I most convince myself that there's no point in opening my mouth are the times I need to talk the most, and the times that it ends up benefiting me the most. Because, you know, I get in these funks where I live inside my head. Living inside my head, I mean, there's a million quotes about it, you know, the devil's playground, the idle mind is the devil's playground. And I really believe in that, because when I will, you know, do you ever, someone asks you to hang out and you're like, oh, I'm not even able to do that. But the times that you've been like forced out, like they'll be like, I'm here right now. Like there's been a few times in my life where someone's like, no, we're going. Or like, I'm outside. And then you walk out and all of us, it just happened. And I'm just starting to realize that I don't have as much of a or trying to realize or appreciate. I don't have as much of a ability to get, my guess meter is very much off for what is going to help me on either direction. You know, I think something is going to help me and it does the opposite. I think that some, you know, food or supplement or whatever thing I'm going to put in my body is going to be the thing, and it's not. I think that socializing, calling a friend, going for a walk is too much for me and going to make me overwhelmed and feel worse, and it saves my life, you know, saves my life. So I'm going to record another thing for Patreon. Check that out. I'm going to sing the names of the people who pay me $30 a month on Patreon, which is really nice. Seems a little bit ridiculous. Not ridiculous like I'm judging them for doing it, but almost like I'm a little bit embarrassed admitting that there's like this amount of people giving me that much money per month, because you can do the calculations of how much I'm being paid for this. I guess it's just like a supportive thing. Like at the end of the day, when you're supporting someone on Patreon or whatever, it's not fully like always a, you know, here is exactly what I think this is worth. It's like, I like what you do and I have expendable income right now. Because is me singing your name worth $30? You find out. Listen, if you don't subscribe to my Patreon, you're not one of these 30 people. I think 30. Listen to the way that I sing it and tell me, is it a $30 worth? Where are these $30 melodies? Is my question. By the way, I'm thinking of releasing, or I'm not thinking of, I have merch that should be coming out soon, and I'm really working hard and annoying the person who's designing them for me on all these. I'm doing one based on this. I've got another new turtle shirts coming out that are like these cartoon, really cute things. And honestly, even if you don't buy one, I think they'll be fun to look at the JPEGs on the sale website. God, this is literally what I'm talking about. It feels... I was just gonna sit around, and I was planning this morning and last night on like posting a thing on Patreon and Twitter saying I can't do this anymore and I'm gonna take a 2-week break, and I don't think that would have helped. I don't know what a 2-week break would be for me. I think that's just me giving myself permission to like go ham on going wild. And going ham and wild for me is not what you might be thinking. I'm not talking the ham they've got at Subway. I'm talking the ham that leads you into a institution, jail, or death, or whatever they say at that one place. Does anyone know what I'm talking about there? Okay, I literally feel like a musician on a stage who's like tuning and being kind of sexy about it. Hi. Oh, man, I don't know how to tune though, that's the problem. See. Okay, I should turn this off. Okay, I'm done. Sorry if I say someone's name wrong. Also, I was thinking when I turned the camera off, I should call this video, I went viral on Twitter and also lost my mind. It's good to have a funny title. Is it? I don't know. Is that funny? I guess if you're watching this, I already chose one. Hello. Sorry I didn't talk to you for a while. You saw how I'm doing. It's hard to keep up with my son when I'm... So you're not a good father. I've never said I was a good dad. You think that makes it okay to acknowledge your dysfunction as a parent? You think that's gonna help me grow up? You're literally 21. You went out last night and had 5 pints. I have an issue. Why are you talking about that? I'm gonna go watch Harry Potter, number 4, Goblet of Fire. I think that's number 3. It's number 4. Shut up. Fire, 4. That's how you remember. Christina Bale, Niall, Kristen T, Lindsay Stickney, Court Tiny Magics, Dump Truck Jones, Danielle Consovo, Bianca Louise, Stacy, Jessenia O, Angel Elise, Meg, Psychedelia, sorry. Sarah Jane P, Riley Radford, Ann Cavoto, Shay Marahan, Blake, Lucy, E.T., Kenya, E. Riley, Pixie Locks, Haley, Curelocks, Kathy Gans, Winona, Erica, Strada, K, Cousin May, Bay. That's a character on Arrested Development. So I don't know if this person's, maybe their name, I think their name actually is May. So that was not for Aaliyah Shawkat. Is that her name? Aaliyah Shawkat? If there's one person right now, can I connect with anyone out there on Aaliyah Shawkat? Anyone? Thanks for talking to me. Thanks for watching this, because the fact that I know at least a few of you are gonna stick with me on this video, and that I believe that while I'm talking to a camera but trying so hard to imagine that it's a person, gives me comfort. And parasocial doesn't always have to be bad, because that gives me comfort. Maybe it gives you comfort too, and maybe it helps Aaliyah Shawkat. Is it Aaliyah? I'm gonna Google this. I am gonna go and I'm gonna do a Patreon. But is it Aaliyah Shawkat? Aaliyah Shawkat. Look her up. Okay, gotta go. Patreon, I'm gonna do another one.